on Twitter, they seem to just not have any idea what I'm talking about. My answer to the question NBA, right?
But you don't have to refute me. Just keep going.
No, yeah, that would be what I would say. 2 or 3 people, traditionally. Like, okay, yeah. So he asked another question. I was like, yeah, me and my buddy. Is that a word? Direct and not some, intermediary thing. But
threes, Mo. That's his name. That's what I was like.
Meticulously fast forwarding and then backing.
Obsessed with it. And Georgia football.
All back to back in like a 40-minute period. I mean, based on something that may ultimately.
Practice to just catch up. And see, okay. What did I miss?
Well, tend to gravitate towards people who are
very much make it about you, and so that starts to make sense.
I've recorded the whole thing and I wait until actually I guess it's your bone. I'm
Stop
picking.
Dangling my bone with your dad growing up. Lots of other things.
You're screwed.
I'm out.
Okay.
Because that we want to continue to shape what our live music.
4 to 5 hours at a time, and you have to watch all of that if you want to watch the full event. Could you?
Don't mind by talking about
there's
it. There's
so many.
I don't believe in what you're doing.
2 different opinions, but we can because what I am going to say right now is
I think it's a waste.
You total of 100 at last season. Where you can follow a featured group. I don't want to follow the featured.
He is something. Put it
as well. Locks played a little.
And the reason why I did that is because people.
NC State grad. So I don't know. Is he? I don't know. I don't follow that.
I'm gonna perform this song because. Okay. Because my theory is
feel good about myself when that time is over. I just don't, and I don't feel great. And it is not the tour of mythicality
when I participated.
Some of you talked about how you've got a lot of anxiety around we've been working together for a long time on this. And when I'm watching sports, I'm not choosing to do it to be entertained, because if it was about being entertained.
Like a cicada, it only comes out every 7 years.
And say, hey, just want to let you know that I really appreciated that Chris Webber joke.
That you love,
and listen, I don't feel good after I do it. So let me that it would be the most boring thing I could possibly imagine.
We potentially, like, if you looked over at me, which people did, but I spent a lot of time.
Surface area is unbelievable.
I spent a lot of time on that thing on the floor.
Need this,
but it happens. I think that's what
we were trying to do, because it was his first game match, the 2010 Wimbledon Championship. Took 11. That benefits me in some way that I still quite understand.
I think it's like freaking a la carte. I think you're hitting on there. That's very fascinating. Lakers season tickets, but if I'm going to go to a game,
I found that I'd never. It just types in Rhett and Link. Oh, okay.
I'll
sit in a different section.
I don't want you. And then when somebody goes to the bathroom,
because
that comes up in conversations now with people. I mean, on any.
Neurons.
Yeah,
there's an E in it. It seemed like the Carolina of the
there.
No,
I wasn't above you.
And I think he may be concerned about us because
there's a camera following him. I just don't think it's fair to pick being a sports fan apart.
Fortnite, and I tried, but I don't know. And I get this
enough to know why you actually sent those.
Somebody
pictures.
did though. I saw somebody comment on it, and they said
that's probably a problem.
Like if you go to, I think. Now that I've thought through this, I think my theory. Well, it wasn't so.
It's
your reptilian brain.
I think it's stupid, but you, my friend, have got to champion this. We
give 5s. You've seen how ridiculous the Tiger fans.
I mean, we don't. It's not like we listen to our own music all the time. You tend to forget, and I hate going to a.
And I'm like, dang, I understand. Consumed me. To a certain level, very much related to man. It's WH. In the psychology that keeps me going back. So I've got a little
ear biscuits. Subscribe. 10 years down the road, how much more?
Realize that
3 hours.
You could say the same. You could say the same thing about all of this, and then I am doing what I call Tiger vision.
Trying the ideas you had for those songs, because
they're sad.
Yes,
but you haven't even let me answer it
yet. If you question about
it's comically cynical was the intention. These behavior, I don't think. Sports are not going away anytime soon.
Action, man. When we went to the, I watched like half the.
Okay.
I mean,
so it isn't about that. There's people who like them and wear their jersey. Space. And I'm not bragging. The crossover between sports fans and then people. Weeks ago, we did an episode, and then Good Mythical More. It was the Good Mythical. You go all around the world and you see people who have no affiliation with the university. Smart to get that.
Those things. So you need to talk about this. I knew it would happen. I love it. And you apply it to the greater. You were being a friend. Yeah. You know, it was great.
But because I put myself in. Now, he's coming to Los Angeles.
Just the general population. You're low on the.
I just feel like
I'm out of college for the next few years. So I tweeted about Pluto. Yeah,
Who cares, right? I care about NC State sports. I care about
like you can grate cheese with the side of your shoe. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Most people haven't seen it. Shout out to me on Twitter. Yeah, friends, we should go to a lake.
Yeah. So $100 million to root for them. I will do it. Okay.
Totality of boxing. There's something that it's so snarky, yet I feel like it brings me good.
He's the freaking mascot from the Demons. Better than him. And I don't want to watch. And the Clippers had a little run
out while in a driving position.
And it kind of just looked like a marijuana ad
at the basketball. But it can go a lot further than we at first. Let's skip to that then.
Okay, the other thing that's happening is this. Quickly, my opinion on LeBron is I think he's great with some of the conclusions we came to.
The year that. Well, it was 2 years ago.
That we had season tickets, ball shoes.
And for those of you who are fans of us, Kobe Bryant, the guy,
okay.
And put like an arrow.
People know that I'm a Clippers fan.
People don't. Did do it just to be funny.
On the internet, it's a small crossover.
Yep.
And my pride speaking because I wanted to let him know. If I sat down with my therapist, I haven't discussed this with normal face-to-face communication to experience it. I tweeted weekend this year who in that instance is
really searching for that one. That's like a talk about is what I'm going to watch it like a movie because you know what? I kept school.
If all of a sudden he could inhabit LeBron's body. Listen to somebody.
By the time this episode comes,
I don't want to watch Bryson Shambo Vision. Oh,
so I sent him to you.
The sport, but taps into our empathy. Appreciate watching Ninja play Fortnite. Who really want to engage vocally with us
to a particular song, and then the artist
thing. And I was like, I'm gonna send Link a picture, and when I make that connection, now this is my, and we're moving on.
I will not tweet, but I'm not a fan of the Lakers either. I just give up.
Okay, good. As long as you're not a Lakers fan, you just
support it. Or
yes.
But I will say before I hit tweet.
Watch a movie alone again. No, I just think that the
Wyatt Earp, man.
This 40-something-year-old guy who still has it and can still compete, then can now sit and I don't seek out Ninja's video.
About to do the toss-up, and for an extended length of
getting grants, at least more with the Kobe episode. So we're back in the studio, and we went through ugly basketball at the end of the podcast.
Of why you would devote your entire...
And he calls me, he's like, Dad, you see Tiger?
You altered your schedule.
Study fan psychology.
They already know how to make a...
Do you see what he did? And podcasts or anywhere else, podcasts are available.
To watch more Ear Biscuits, click. So you're like Tiger.
Same exact principle.
I mean, well, at least as far as that.
When I talk about it on the internet, the people who interact with me on
2 or 3 hours, you watch Wyatt Earp? How could you understand what's going on with people? I digress. Good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
I love this mug.
Because I'm already watching movies and television.
I'm fighting more advanced virtual reality will be. You don't understand when I
do a full bore performance in order to practice.
It was hard for me to foster it at that point.
From me, in the way, the legitimate observation that, you know what, Pluto.
I mean, people will say the brute.
I'm not pulling for them.
Well, I didn't invite you in a planet anymore. I'm like 11 years later. Pluto's on the rebound. Love sports, and I'm really into. Well, restate that.
I'm saying that
continuing these conversations on Twitter, and that's my way to
are on the. If you watch just for a little bit and you see how crazy these people, I don't care. I won't watch a random Saturday. Let's go. We're just like pound. It is because
as if that it's about me. I don't feel
7 hours, 5 minutes over 3 days. It just intersects, and then a few random made with other loved ones.
Oh, I'm no longer that into it. I just got up
to by that first article, where they had 3 different groups of Clippers fan. A lot of people.
This is a deeper form of entertainment.
Pretty good at football now.
Oh, really? I feel like if I started watching, we start losing on to different highways as I try to make my way into Burbank.
And there's extra time. For anyone who's actually a sports fan, from someone who on the outside, the most boring sport you could watch. It also is by far, so we're actually, it's a waste of time.
So you're having a grammatical debate within your mind.
I didn't realize that
3 days, 11 hours. The games, it was too much. And they didn't win. It was a disappointment at the end.
Records wasn't, when you can relate to a character, but there's an artist.
To me, I at least begin to understand what you are. And then what I'm gonna tell you, and so I'm,
since whenever I talk about sports on the internet, just like I did in my little rant that I did.
Anyway,
you know what? Maybe it's like a cicada. What is it? Cicada?
In his restroom. But I will say, breath control, man. That's the thing. Right.
Okay.
Is that it?
So interestingly, and then I'll never pull for him again.
I don't have all I got in the car.
Yeah.
And my throat. I'm trying to build my throat.
Me just sitting there explained all this, and he was like, well, I think you should watch sports with your freaking football season again. And I don't care about NFL football. I'm from the South, coaching.
I think they knew.
But a lot of people didn't.
When was the last time that you're right in being a fan of Tiger?
Everything that true golf is around, it's like, help themselves. Because of the self-esteem boost.
Welcome to
Actually supporting, and sometimes I get it wrong, and sometimes we see a putt go. LeBron as well.
So there's people who don't like LeBron.
That doesn't apply to. We text pictures.
What are you upset about though?
Well, I'm going to tell you. We text.
Click the circular icon to subscribe.
Thanks for being necessarily in self-esteem. That is.
I don't know.
We get going.
Okay, that's quite a teaser. But I would like to take a few minutes, just to. It's definitely not fun to watch. A tournament was continuing, and you were doing
that
your Tiger
at all. But I've made these.
You made an identification. Hashtag earbiscuits. Any recommendations you have for things that you think that
you work at? Then anyone who's who's actually competing with him and who's relevant in comparison to him, I like. Nope.
Because first of all,
this is where we're different.
How is anyone around you going to think that you're? But I would watch that
once.
Do with your upbringing. I think knowing.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm just remembering. So many people would pay for Tiger Vision. I know it seems like. Let me also clarify that. Even if
sounds like an addiction.
Even if I don't know, it opened my eyes. I also tweeted about that. I like that. I got it. $3.
We made it. Oh, Rhett also tweeted about this. I'm like, crap. This is gonna be
true. Like the theater. Yeah. Because like the theater, doesn't necessarily need to be fostered. My opinion is not going to change anybody. I'm super self-aware about this, so I feel like I have to address both of them. Because
things I think you brought
can grab.
Survival of the fittest. That's an aspect of it. Look at what I was doing. When I was driving in, I made a playlist of songs.
And so it seems like the character is what? In Murray State in Kentucky. Okay. So, and he has no, by emotionally support.
Or associate yourself with.
This totally, he said there are 8 reasons. Let me just go through these. People,
but I do agree that I can't just say, I'm a Lakers fan. I can't do that.
I don't know what ended up happening. I'm sure I know, and sure I want him to lose badly.
You pass that experience along to Locke. And I do not middle school basketball team. That's my only connection.
That I am personally interested in. And again, I'm not saying I'm proud of it.
And they're talking about the episode 2 weeks ago where we were talking about.
But that second part of the equation is not true with NC State football.
Graham, and especially in success, there's like, you start to.
And haven't already clicked away because you're like, I don't want to hear him talk about sports. I don't like sports. Like I am.
His self-esteem is completely
going to have about sports.
I didn't know that. All I know is I got a text. You're like, send me the.
Out.
Well, and I think those last 2 are very much an assignment for you guys, and we're still processing. Because I had looked at that, not that we're Tiger Woods,
and Now
me on Instagram too. It's kind of like a fallow field.
Yeah, there's a great picture of him
burned, man.
But that's not how.
Now,
that's not how we make decisions about who we're going to
buy.
I agree with that.
I just don't think your landing point should be
Juan. Might be thumbs up.
Which was a great application.
The appetizer.
Why you keep dangling this bone you're gonna pick?
I've been dangling. If the Lakers
more than LeBron
chipping it in, we get so crazy. It's that perfect opportunity. I can be a Clippers fan. So a lot of things like as soon as Tiger had his whole deal, his whole world fell apart because some people have Dorton Arena. It's 7:30 p.m. If you have a ticket of the BMW Championship at home, tweeting about I'm horrible in Field of Dreams. Try to enjoy that.
For you, a deeper form of connected recreation.
Good luck with that.
That is the taught you how to watch it. And he created,
and even if we go a little bit over our typical time, I do want to talk about LeBron.
Have that experience with Lincoln. I mean,
my bone for 13 minutes.
Stop dangling your bone and pick it. Them all getting
he game and kind of experience the group thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just talking about opinions. You're an American cable news. You're like a Fox.
Maintain my allegiance, and it just heartbreak. That's the
been very compromising.
I was having with the people.
So is that sports are a substitute for tribal warfare, and which is what I've always thought. It's what I said in my.
Well,
here's what I'll say: if you enjoy these things,
I don't think it's stupid.
And then of course, what happened recently?
Well, there you have it. We talked about sports.
That was LeBron.
That guy who came off the bench, the big guy who would shoot.
Awkward interaction with the barista. It's incredibly difficult to become a non-embarrassing golfer, right? Pluto should have been a planet all along. It should have never been money on it. Because their boyfriend or girlfriend or family member likes sports.
Mm-hmm. So for me,
it's not the demons anymore. For hours.
Tired of losing.
So hold on. So you're going to bandwagon? That's what you're going to. You're seriously going to bandwagon?
Well, wait though. I'd like to see that once. His heyday. Lewis said he could take LeBron
and kind of catch up, but I do.
Why? And I just thought it'd be funny to tweet this old video because I thought about it and I knew. Was it a sock?
I feel like there's this part of him that represents.
I'm most concerned about. I'm not concerned about. No, also, in the interest of digression, I wonder what the second
in the pre-mortar. I cannot speak today.
You're not even saying nerd.
Oh, good.
Don't make me wait.
For losing.
I gave up at a time when that was the case. You know what? Let's table that, but let's think about it.
Okay. Is this still there? I think there are people who are sports fans, but the Venn diagram.
I just tweeted about
to that. That was just an awkward interaction that I had. The bone that I have to pick with the different.
Got to defend it as just a form of recreation.
I feel like for 10 years until Tiger comes back, and all of a sudden.
Well, I'm saying, especially giving what
room sink.
And the floor.
And I look over there and I see there's like these things. Yeah, because you're like the cable news producer that wants there to be two opposing. What is he?
Throat muscles.
But hold on, we're not performing.
That you subconsciously pull on all of that, and then those things were.
That he could be a better player. I think he's really competitive tennis matches and golf and very good at football. So if you're gonna tie your self-esteem to one team that we've put on the internet for people to enjoy, including this very conversation, meta,
as Rhett just sending after our
18 hours, and you had to watch it over the course of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're not even really going to have a conversation directly about sports. We're about athletically.
In spite of the fact,
specifically being there were. I just want to see promises as to ECU beat them by 20 points.
Maybe I should football as a spectator. There's somebody who was like supports my theory, which means I love it because.
Man, we watched college football, and yeah, there's Carolina Panthers. If you want to see this, there's a difference. Here's the difference. I'm out in the shoe because of the whole timeout thing. Fusion surgery. He's come memories of like
made where they're coming from illegitimate or.
So okay, it does
that's
happen.
A sport thing that I almost knew
because of what he did. I don't know. Incidentally, that is something the research shows, is that people in GMM, which I really thought was going to be awesome and was going to get shared by a lot of people, they're all about their tradition and all the winning that they've done, and it just makes me I'm jealous.
Quantify your love of sports. Like
the logic behind benefit if I took it out of my life apart from the connection that I'm.
There are Ron. I think Lincoln's into playing NBA Live. I loved it because
it could have been anything.
I scrolled through the
so ambiguous. So if and that's why Jesse's always loved.
As a byproduct of that, I'm driving in.
When it comes to sports, and huge sports fan. Again, mostly college, very much Georgia football. If you were watching we are actually, and I'm like, Tiger Vision is really tough. I just want a program that is just Tiger Vision, the final event. So there's a lot of reasons to pull for LeBron, right?
Like you pull somebody off the front lines of the
two of you that's more cheating, and then he got hurt.
And you just said that in a dangerous way.
Becker playing tennis. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
and caring so much about it. And I was telling Locke, I was
raucous.
Like, husband, an incredible father.
Through the reactions to my tweet, and someone zoomed in on that.
Angeles.
What you just said to everybody, you could have just been a Clippers, a Lakers fan.
No, because people he's at
who knows what's up with him by this point.
Of Bowie's Creek Elementary School, which
about sports. It's like
ends up happening. Locke's doing a bunch of stuff on the weekend. First of all, I have a point of reference for the physical space. You'll have to go to the Haynes section of Walmart.
He did not remain the coach.
No, Doc Rivers became the coach. NC State Wolfpack star was the coach of the Clippers, and I was like, Dad, still state them very quickly. The Lakers, to me, have always hitting a golf ball. Also fire at the sight of somebody else performing that action.
You fight. You fight to
by emotionally
win.
But it's not the same, because I don't feel like, because it sounded like my whole thing was a big story. So sure, you've got an office.
So you're devoting 4 days.
Well, and let me clarify.
I've actually found that to be true. Do it and give the people what they want. A little candid shot of red.
On this show, and that was just for you.
I appreciate that.
Okay, and he's here.
And I think I would say on television, sports disconnected. There are some people who are like, just show me a college basketball game. LeBron comes to the Lakers, and let me just say, there's like a big vat of moisture.
I literally zoomed in on your bathroom countertop and looked at that.
This is how the barista spoke. And I was, man like me, a man, a woman, anyone sitting down on a couch, the football team. And so I have made it a point to find where
realized.
Yes. At those points, it doesn't feel like a waste. And I said that was my closing list, me and you and
movie fan apart. Like, you're gonna waste. He's really into basketball
2K.
now. 2K. Because
I do have an office I could go to. It's very large.
I've not
said before I looked at the research is that there's a portion of my self-image, leading sports fan psychologist in North America.
There was something about that.
Well, it's the connection. And
I didn't
someone else after the fact. That's what happens all the time. Oh, you're a Pittsburgh fan. Connect with somebody in the here and the now. It's not a waste.
But multiple times a week, and of course, Locke's very into it. But just you can figure it out.
He's sending Link what he's wearing. I now appreciate. Okay, it's 42. Mine in the rant was something about. It gives me something to text my dad about.
I would love to. I would watch that once, man. I would watch
the never-ending basketball.
What a magical connection.
But if I don't feel good after I do it, then I think I could.
From the Cavs to play the Clippers.
He sat out.
Luck for having it. It doesn't give anyone love.
Fans, non-sports fans, think neurons. You just want me to say neurons? That's so boring. It's like golf. Tweeted at me who've never commented, and tennis is like another potentially boring.
But weird. I bet his was a little funnier. And he would, all of a sudden, the shot.
Thinking about this, there hasn't been an
anxiety. Well, I do.
On Sunday, so I'm also recording.
Just hike. Just go on a hike. Like, connect with nature. Bring people along. Indicated on the
exactly when that will.
Why are you giving me to say Instagram? Shout out to. I saw you. It was a Monday, and the
there as well. You can also get Link's shirt. Mythical.store. You can't get my shirt. You can't just get
super
vivid.
Click on the playlist on the right.
To watch more of our daily show, Good Mythical Morning, click the playlist on the left. Game. And I'm sure it's a safe modern day expression of it. I'm a Clippers just passing over them mindlessly now. I watch them, and we were excited about season tickets, and then he set out. And Kyrie set out that game as well.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Triple overtime. It's like going on a nature hike. It's like going on a backpacking. I'm starting to think maybe you don't have to have that connect. I didn't have enough of that connection, and it was
something in our brains.
I'm in a Western boy. He's great.
Is he a Lakers fan? Is that still play occasionally? There's self-esteem too. Portion of my own self-worth to play with NC State. So,
well,
maybe times are changing though.
So if the both did.
Okay, to wrap this up, it almost looks like a, and we're gonna
They're constantly playing.
Yeah, we're gonna get
each other.
We're gonna get into why some people find.
And then what we decided at the end of that was,
when this comes out, this episode will come.
About player.
Yeah, and so
I should get 2
years ago.
Yeah, we gotta do something about this.
You know what? Then,
but we're writing a few new songs. We're writing as many songs as again.
That's called, and that whole tradition.
You don't
is gonna
hate the Lakers.
Incidentally, they changeable benefit in that approach. There would be
that you're having with this thing.
Particularly funny tweet. It was you guys must be in the same. Well, okay. Speaking of scientists, now when you begin to look, well, my answer to that question at your coffee shop. And he was like, oh, well, what do you do for a living? And I was like, oh. Well, and you might say from a psychological perspective.
So you don't think everything, I honestly don't know everything. I just.
But golf. We're going to talk a little bit about what the research says about if you've played a sport, if you have a.
He started playing video games, then he started playing it in the real world.
I was like, Jesse, take this picture of me so I can send it to Link. And I was like, I'm going to amuse neurons? I could care less about that. He's better than Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, after you tweet once, cast, and then I do watch that. I recognize that because there are some people who are like
you're describing. Actually, don't sell that short. It's kind of what this mug says. But I'm still gonna be years. I don't know how many years it is.
Want him to lose
in your life.
That it together, and we're like really getting into it, and the
brain interprets it as a relationship, and you're in it. I'm sure we'll both be tweeting about it at the same time. And
I am that guy who only cares about.
Did what?
So I said, Pluto's. What's the best way to for a little bit to play Fortnite?
Again, the self-esteem thing.
Okay. Well, here's the thing I'll say about. I'm a fan of Tiger
Sports fans to not, at the end of this conversation, have.
I'm not even necessarily talking about going to sporting events, which I feel like because it feels dirty. It feels like just getting into some sort.
I'm gonna work on those.
You just said Braun. Got it.
Yeah, there's no.
He hadn't looked at the receipt yet. He was like, "Oh,
you're a part of it. It's you.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that team is."
The performance of these things that I have either made an associate.
Put Mo in. I would. There are people who do shoot blanks, use a carpet.
Winter. What do with that? Is he picking?
Yeah.
But we were sitting there watching it.
And this was before he said he was coming to the Lakers. He said that, and
he's doing. And as an NC State fan, I despise UNC. We have talked and had been so instrumental in their own personal communication. And as friend, we need. I don't need your coffee shop to work. I'm not one of those.
Together.
Yeah. This is gonna blow your mind.
Are
you gonna like tained by watching under the?
Even if you didn't play football, you're dead. I don't know. I think we might get into it. I don't know that we're gonna agree on this one. The whole concussion
made it seem like I'm just texting pictures of myself to you. And my therapist. But if I said,
which is incidentally exactly what he says to his.
Now I can still be a LeBron fan personally.
Your foot, that black turd looking thing. In tickets, and when LeBron came
back and he's competing with these guys and he's all
tripping like having in
those of you who see it. I've actually got
because I was at work. I was here in the office.
I was. Maybe it's not a waste.
Can we really get to the point?
While I was at the coffee shop, which is
I think you could spin it the other way and. You could to the Clippers games.
If that causes you to then guys who played basketball in the first group. The second group were table of dim lighting. We are exploring the question basketball game. I won't watch, like even when March Madness.
An environment where memories were made.
That you tweeted another tweet.
Exactly. Talk at you next week.
To hear this Ear Biscuit innocent, I don't even know if it made it to the end. I think it was maybe even after it had cut off. But and I won't catch up with live because I grant funding. But sort of that Michael Jordan, if that is going in.
Well, the thing that I've noticed when I look, you know what?
I'm saving. Just watching the highlights do it because I don't know. In order to connect with some personal self-esteem boosts by watching them win.
Oh, no.
Boy, he's horrible.
But then, after that, the next day you tweeted what you were wearing. Excellent clothes. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean,
but unlike Ty,
I even knew the name.
I'm mad. I'm mad about it because I have too much certain things boring or. But so working on isn't even necessarily a song. It's a musical bold.
Okay. I mean, it's not my place to.
The whole idea of texting, then you could substitute someone who wasn't Tiger Woods, which has
party of people who
can deck. NC State basketball coach. I want to do it the
right
way. Maybe it's the color red point, but I don't.
I think we have.
Sounds like a good rule because the sport that has
vision.
But I couldn't do Tiger Vision because it was the fair on October 12th.
And begin to even
that you can
to survive. I mean, evolution is survival. Scheduled aspects of your life and altered it.
You need to change it back to the demons. Basically, everything fell apart.
They had a run,
and So I think that
you think they're listening right now.
Once when we
when
we had a new coach, Herb. Incidentally, I had sort of as watching a movie. Because when I go into a movie, I'm going into it completely kidding.
Jim Carrey show.
And I'm going to make a funny minute. It is me.
Well, let's start there.
Eating dessert is a waste of calories.
Weekend to it.
And you know, I'm
sitting there.
I have any impact on the outcome of the game that happened. Special show that's all music. And of course, us trying to be funny.
In an authentic way. I'm concerned about being.
And he talked
to your place on that choice is being, and it just wasn't quite enough to like bake in allegiance. Like I was all in.
It's so anti people watch guys shoot basketball, free throws, simple action.
Pointed to it was like, you've got this. You've been built. You've experienced sports.
83 games. Wow. There's no character. He proved that, and it was public. He state sports.
Well, let's. Nuts. Like I was either being attacked by bees or I was like
identifying with it. So it was in my household, so it was ingrained in me in that way. When people just read about sports. So hearing about sports
acts a relationship.
Right. And
or to escape
how bad
attack.
It would hurt my back.
Capacity to these things. Or hate.
Probably in the past because that was unrelated to Pluto and it was a character and you want them to win. That is how you enjoy the best stories.
I just so hard I didn't actually listen to you.
He basically studies why people watch sports. And
it's not about him, it's about you.
Yeah, and so man,
I feel some anxiety when I watch, but I just don't 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
which is crazy.
Well, it was 20 years ago and then up to about sports fans watch sports because they can't. Never commented, but just like something I'm hoping that someone can accomplish for me.
Righteous, sir.
What choice?
Part.
I said with the cheating. He was
probably what you're going to get at.
Because if I could choose,
because my argument is,
ouch, just watching other people. My experience. Then I did go to a Rams game and I bought a hat.
We time for sport. Look for opportunities to do that more.
And specifically the thing that I was.
Did you do that?
Right. I think I talked about this at some point. I never understood
season, and then we take.
You're like keeping score in your head.
We take our friend
rebound that has I'm Rhett. I used to say and I'm Rhett, but I just figured the
ship. Like one year they're like, guys, they're about to do the what's the toss up?
I'm saying neurons. Near mountaintop.
One day from how many
watched back when he was the greatest player. The answer is yes, it is a waste of time. But Boris Reiser, like lotion.
Elon Musk is has gone sideways in some other way.
Of course it's about me.
It's like I could look at that score. I realized, I've experienced that.
So according to Eric Simons, when he talked to Dan, like sports writers, and then the third group were students at this university. I think you though, because I'm like, yes, I am a nerd. like okay, Alex here cares about sports. He watches Michigan sports. We talk about.
So I actually feel
I have placed some
or not, because you're not just
it was great if they lost. He was, and the good thing is that
conducting friendships over text.
Right. Action to office, which again I was. That was my professor pay.
Ad was.
We will continue to do it. So I'm not going to try to argue. Watch them. I hope they win because I know how it, and that's why we identify with it to the degree that we do. And how we think about that, because we haven't discussed it in detail, but I know that in one sport, Georgia football is. I had like my backpack or whatever. I was like, yep. Just a little break from the. Oh, that's what got me thinking about this.
Like soybeans or no show.
Well, you have to you have to think about the intersection. How ironic is it that not only is Goff a blank Navy?
Okay, yeah.
But specifically on, and he pauses.
The long one.
He pauses. So what I meant earlier when I said
not sports, but this conversation.
And texting allows you to be able to do that, and so I totally get that. I still stand by the whole.
We're talking. Yeah, I went hashtag ear biscuits, and I'm looking at what people are talking about.
Honestly, how much time are
a team player?
The very sick, right? Yeah, sure.
Training for kidding.
I agree with this. He says there's no evidence, but then I feel like it's a waste. But here's the thing:
you're gonna get up the next morning. You're gonna start at different times,
and
we will actually enjoy.
Took a the ons. And so basically, simply stated, about 1/5 of the, or do they care at all?
It's as if the majority.
And finally, because it provides a sense of belonging and connection to a wider world.
So we're to the
tweeted the moment
near-death experience, but then making it through, and you're grabbing each other by the collar, and you're like,
Tiger Woods when it comes to golf. I am a golfer. I played on the high school golf. Imagine basketball
painted any part of your.
About 1/5 of the neuron.
And I was like, I'm done for the day.
Yeah. So as you might know,
over your shoulder because
colors of our
phone. Belligerently having road rage at the person in front of me. I can't have enough breath control to get this stuff. Then be building your case that
you just like to wear the jersey, and about being entertained.
We spend our professional mornings apart, and
every once in a while
I just think
it's many things. Subscription to subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Tiger the victim. His whole world fell up of entertainment that feels
long when he's asked a question that I feel like it's affecting the way that I'm beginning relationships. Then I see direct social benefit, but we don't know about the specific details of LeBron's life and face-to-face communication being used together being the most effective. Just this past week,
just get into. You said that you haven't painted yourself, but you have
him a little bit. So I gave you the sideways.
Andre Agassi when he went bald. I'm just joking.
Chip it in, Tiger. You to be
a point of connection.
The majority, what's happening in your brain is one of the reasons that you find his Murray State like body. You should connect with somebody on something more personal that you share between. But there is a guy. So I read this article from the Columbia.
Is it a waste involved to listening? Maybe it's 50%. And I think I've learned just for the sake of I don't have an allegiance to the Clippers. It was too much opposition, or I am definitely coming from a different place, but
no, it's a winter condom.
Oh,
you're a Clippers fan because of when you moved to Los Angeles. How Texas
missing from my upbringing. So I start to feel
picture from the privacy of my bathroom, which had
okay. We set up
I forgot about it, but if you go to the Rhett MC Twitter, that's RHETT, it has always been into a conversation. So I'm just saying if it benefits.
No, man.
1991 or
it wasn't even in enjoying the game.
It's of the point of connection that I have with my dad. Darren cares a significant amount about sports,
but when you take
I don't know if we've come to any conclusions.
So the LeBron thing.
Say let me say, and I'm red.
But we're keeping that.
Sure.
Neurons.
Neurons.
He delayed us talking.
It's got to be less than an hour.
I think you're describing Sports Center. What?
Show me a sport.
Related to that.
I could have had
hashtag ear biscuits conversation. If you're not willing to pick being a
because it's exciting. Okay.
It is exciting. I mean,
we talking about he's on screen doing his thing behind that decision, and I can't dispute that. Neurons that fire fan for the lengthiest. Name one other sport where they play 4 days in a row for some, but I don't think you should watch it by yourself. Then I would be like, because what actually happened recently was a couple of way, but
Beast mascot with a logo of himself.
Range.
Why?
I will go to a Lakers game with you. Research. Okay. Okay.
When you don't
every once in a while I'll get into like 3 hours, man.
Singing along, because I mean, share this episode with somebody who
Tiger, exaggerating a little bit because heard of before. Is this something called mirror neuron? That they were he wore that, and
we went
so
to this
is the sport
on a brain level. I mean, there is science. I think it's sad that you would say yes is a waste of time. That on the Lakers.
We could be R&B.
R&B.
Well, Darren was like, I get that, I appreciate that. Then, and I made it
still something.
Yeah.
We're either Ron, R&B, or Bros.
Or if two of both of those link, but just go ahead and start it the same way we always do. Tweeting back at me and adding you. Oh, you know, is overpowering.
You hate winners because we were losers. 3 hours alone. It's good cinema.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
What are you doing watching Wyatt Earp again?
So now you can take an experience you have while watching sports.
It's close to it.
If your connection to the sport, and I feel like Wood's the athlete without a doubt.
But you're not defending
like dominant in their sport, like LeBron James, which we'll talk about. Carolina football this year. Carolina is those shoes. So for me, that continues to be a big part of it.
Do not have a space for. We made it.
Hey man, this is a Hanes special. Don't just grabbing it. If you go back, my dad was and is a
for the girls.
But when I moved here to Los Angeles, I was like, I don't want to be a Lakers fan. Worst team in the ACC. I'm sure you're working with your best friend.
Is that the report? And I don't know how we got on LeBron because he had Pluto thing. And then I'm looking at the comments under there, and immediately somebody's like,
Earth on the performance of. I do feel like our allegiance to either the things kind of fell apart for them, and who knows what's happening. You need me to lead you into that. You need to just say shout out to Link Lamont on Twitter.
Either going to be bro, vaguely pieces of it, but
I'm setting that. So what I would say,
because I don't, or Ron, like is there a
reason?
So
we are going to get into some psychology.
So get into first. It's a legitimate. It's more than just a form of
because
given
at the same time, yeah.
Any way you slice it, anybody goes to the restroom only one at a time.
Oh, it's the R&B guy. We're up when I see too much and trying to erase it from my memory. I don't like when you take into account like where I grew up, because NC State and take to play those sports. Is it logical? No. Is it something I'm proud of? No. Did I
to follow him and therefore
Murray State, and this guy is he's described by most of his colleagues as far and away the lead. I think it was his best performance. I'm sure I watched it. But yes, I am that guy that sports fans watch sports to be in. Eisner Mahut.
Quantify your love for sports, and it is a lot.
That we experience sports, and we would find it in anything. I remember watching, and then I just was like, that's my tweet. I don't tweet every day, but same place tweeting about the same thing. What?
Actually, that would never happen.
When I enter into a movie, I'm doing it. I'll be 41 very soon. And he's
years ago.
No, yeah. Oh.
It's like a fallow. I mean, I know some tennis matches can go. I mean, record tennis matches could be like.
When I talk about sports with my dad, which does continue.
Professional tennis match.
And there's probably a baseball game that's gone on for a long time.
Yeah,
before. Sometimes I'll watch it, and then okay, so Locke was in North Carolina recently, and I did
pictures of himself constantly, and the pendulum has swung too far. That was my tweet.
When he came back this year,
there's a couple moisturizer. I scrutinized it.
Mm-hmm. Back when there was no, because he was like getting some work done.
dirty or something that needs to
Didn't tweet. So
mythical.store. Okay, let's get into sports. And of course, LA traffic. I'm just doing it totally different.
I think they're just doing it for their own personal
I don't
enjoyment.
like
Pluto's indifference to this whole situation is enviable. Article that I found in psychology.
The excitement of being at a game and something thrilling happens and you're there with people you know and don't.
So what I would say,
and he's like explaining what a triple-double is, and I realized I didn't even know that was in sports in their life.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been taken up with either us or things. There's a dramatic pause there. What was that?
He like looked up.
But I wasn't. But he
but now in the causes and consequences of sport team identification, i.e. the
and I was like zooming in on it, and I was
with you is the fact that I'm sitting there at the coffee shop. Actually, I think as far as the nurture side.
And for me, it was not.
Right. So
with in the world really quick because they lose a lot more.
So I am on the scale of
when it comes to Tiger, I can see how the things that you rattled off
sports, and I'm really into competitive things, and so
longest match play sport is. I
typically don't watch the Thursday and the Friday. I watch the weekend. I watch Saturday. Physical connection and appreciation for a particular sport. It actually.
You have to justify being a sports fan.
Yes.
With a connection with your son. Sometimes, guys.
Sneaking it in.
See, this is how sometimes it doesn't start.
We'll definitely use
LeBron is playing it.
And here's the thing.
Because by the way,
I will go of their brains activated related to the motions of shooting a
game.
It'd be unhealthy or something that's deep and you become.
They're crazy if you don't do that. And two,
I respect that.
Your self-esteem in any
man and still is just about the athletic.
It's not.
No.
We had a song about Pluto from 11 years ago about it not being years ago.
But definitely, I remember the way he's there.
Handler, the official mythical
bit. I don't want to get into the details of it because I want it to be a surprise for
powerful thing psychologically.
Yeah,
that has much less
giant vat of moisturizer as well.
And
just so you know,
concert where I'm attached screenshots of private text. I'm sorry, can I just break in 1 second and say that I just wanted to. So you had a bond.
If you enjoy these things by yourself,
if
you enjoy a lot of things, including one of these mugs that says
"Good luck."
I'm just saying I cannot pull myself away from it. When you guys started talking about the texting conversation, a lot of people took issue. I saw the Twitter moment.
8 hours, like pro level. He had no allegiance to the Clippers.
Yeah,
it's just crazy to me.
I thought he told you. Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is I don't feel like it's the same thing.
I think you got to go all the way, and you guys
who wear red.
Because we were in different places, we both looked at the same thing on Twitter, and we both tweeted about it.
So they did an experiment, and this is all
at the top of my lungs about like delivering. It's going to be good though.
I'm very excited about it.
At the end of that last podcast, to tweet, there multiple people are injured. Oh! I know, it's like not everyone's vomiting.
Because it's
You texting me right? My Instagram account's like, remember, we watched that.
Right. You're screwed. His specialty is studying this. It does not impact my behavior. I will go ahead.
Actually call yourself a fan of Tiger, or you're just...
That will go into end of the year. We'll have just finished, like last night when this episode goes up. So... It
would be on him, but I would just hear... At first I was like, you become much closer to identifying with what...
Like, okay, he showed his true colors, and he was the...
But because of things...
There, and we would watch these things just intently, like...
Everybody would know.
And then that's when he looks at the receipt and he was like, when I watch sports with Locke, or we're NC State, I don't think of it on the other side of the nation. No, I didn't have any impact on it. But you weren't, because what you did is
it would feel like to be tackled. I'm just...
Are more feared. But that has not really come...
But to complete your thought, it's impossible to watch, having never played.
Of people at Mythical Entertainment, I am on van and have somebody else drive you around, and you need to be standing up in the back.
That was just and we went to Clippers games, and I wanted to foster something in him.
We're gonna be at North Carolina State.
Will I remember what we're talking
I
about?
almost said are watching sports, and I was like, no, that wouldn't.
You gotta do it for them. You gotta be like, when's the last time you pitched to the power of sport, or in some cases rapping?
But the fact is, when I said because
so you can't watch a movie alone?
No, I'm never gonna. But it appears that he has been a faithful. You should see it. I don't need
for myself. I would assume that then having a connection to the sports program.
You're a content creator. That's how we have different perspectives on this. So sports. Do you think sport? You do like sports, and boy,
tribalism.
MC, you can see exactly how you're supposed.
Period. People with their brains and still doesn't give anybody
ball. Like he watched
to defend yourself. You're just like, it's actually
on network television. Everybody watched them in real time, and you watch them with your family. And my dad and my brother and I would sit. We want to have a conversation about the merits of watching sports. I'm interested.
Okay. Well,
and first of all,
going to therapy for
but
it.
There's tangible. The reason I think that I could do that is because there's tangible.
We love it when you call us.
Doing incredibly well in the golf world, and no one caring about them.
And I don't. Maybe I pity cordoned off.
Not a gamer, but because my son was playing
connection that certain people, not everybody has. That
okay,
but we'll come back to it.
Said it in a dangerous way.
It seemed like you just made
oh, rats and links. I recognize how annoying it is for all these other guys who are out there squeak at the round.
The choice to.
So, okay. First of all, selfishly to be entertained. We have a standard for.
I just thought
that he went to Buies Creek School and took pictures inside the gym, and it says like Buies Creek, like he will be. And I remember this growing up. Like, well, the reason that I watch only is I am that guy who only cares. And if I'm
Ron had
if the Lakers
Cleveland.
Well, if the Lakers want to pay me $100, say that.
Well, I'm not saying we're gonna slap each other.
See them every once in a while.
I'm sure they've thought about just putting a camera.
I need Tiger Vision because Tiger Vision for me is lined up. Turns out right after that the Clippers were generating. So if you really want to do that, you need to be innovatively listening to that the podcast, the Joe Rogan podcast, when Elon Musk was playing indoor in arena from a car. You're a loser. I'd rather be a consistent loser than a flipping winner.
A fair weather. We value that back and forth.
Yeah, in fact, how amazing he is at what he does. And I could see myself
to have better things to do than
had an appreciation for what it's like to do what they are able to do.
Season tickets to the Clippers, and you know what? It was a lot of fun.
You took a freaking screenshot of my texts to you.
Winter.
It's not carpet. It's not made of carpet. That would be horrible. I've had people who say, I'll go to a basketball game or I'll go to a hockey.
My Instagram, and one day.
So Locke and I were watching the third round.
You were taught how to experience is that it has to do
sitting down and watching it for an extended period of time. For whatever, like with Tiger Woods, I have no association with him. I just try to remember the lyrics.
Mistake.
If the team wins. When I realized that I've been laying there, conclusions that people can draw. I do think that we connect with entertainment that is
our date. Okay, we will.
You will be after this. Tweet at me. I could have had
very public because it
happened every single year right now, but I don't want to watch him. It's not if you don't like sports.
And don't forget to welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm still Link.
Only watching because Tiger Woods is in contention again. If you haven't been following,
but
can't be a
Kevin
Lakers
Costner,
fan.
boy,
is in his article that a popular theory. You just see who the best team is and you root for them. Or just been
after the game.
But the most interesting thing that I've been waiting for you to ask me that all day. How I've been.
Well,
again. At those points, it feels like a waste. When he's there with me and we're watching the best player to ever play the game.
I know.
I do.
I'm looking at it on your.
But like the thing he's passionate about, the thing that he has tied himself in it. And then my comment about it was Pluto was in Italy who had never played basketball. And the players and the writers had area too. And then clarification, those who comment.
Things to light that.
Behavior, whatever I said. How he's complicated things and coming to Los Angeles.
You sure you don't mean Ginobili?
That fire in the
You to let us know about that.
And when we think that we have gathered the information and we haven't.
And there we have it.
And
you're not watching golf.
I'm watching Tiger Woods.
You're watching You get weekly basis. You'll probably.
Right.
Thank goodness. Science. I would like to see.
It's a slug.
Like, there was a big vat of that, and then there was.
I'm a big.
We made a
dominant in their sport, and so I've been a Cleveland fan simply because you like go to the YouTube space. There's like no, we have our own boring sport. So anyway,
but not nearly as boring as golf.
Right, could care as little about what people think about you as Pluto does.
So you
was the question to me is yes, it is a waste. Better than the Lakers. He's about the same age, the back problems, all that. But NC State is where I went to school. You know, it's not quite like Alabama, but it's pretty good. And
private text conversation.
But college sports. As web, you get an extra timeout.
Boy, you're
much.
Winner.
Yeah, you can always be a winner. You just pick the. I don't believe that that's why you don't watch.
Plus,
first of all,
okay.
Oh, there he is. Oh, I was growing up, and plus, they're in Charlotte, and that's a Carolina town, and here. Number one, I typically don't, but my hate for the Lakers
on YouTube as a platform as viewers. So continue
group because it takes the feature group 4 hours to play.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I want to see Tigers high.
It's a good I do not have because sports was only associated with anxiety. Neurons, right?
Neurons.
That's not how you say it.
Neurons. Angeles. I will reconsider. Explain that.
Well, given what you just said, it seems like
those things aside, and I recognize I'm conveniently setting those things aside.
Well, I think it speaks
to the fair. You can come see us. But like I follow him on Instagram, and he'll do these little clips. And instead of before I left to leave for the day, I ended up.
So I got a bone to pick with you.
I haven't even picked my bone yet because I.
Oh gosh, seriously?
That's hilarious, isn't it?
Where is that from?
Entertained. They are wrong.
I am wrong? Okay. After he drives the ball off the tee, football, like, I actually should be going
because they saw.
I left the text that you sent off.
That picture, I don't know what year it was. Somebody out there would know, but I made a Fab Five.
Really committed, and I got
in your mythical best. Watching a man in a red sweater hit a little white ball. First of all, I embody speaking directly to that.
Start to appreciate that.
And this is true from
LeBron
James factor where somebody begins to dominate in such a significant way. I don't remember it, but it's not computer generated. Took me a second to find it.
You did
to watch golf. And not only starting to get good, and then they became way.
It looks like they have a cheese grater on the bottom.
Or the red shirt. That's on a Sunday. And I stop, and sometimes going to golf a few times a week. I see motor cortex when we perform an action, say like kicking a ball.
Feel better about that association.
And it will affect my day.
Like for a Wolfpack MO.
But I do it a lot. And I probably, right, exactly. Wyatt.
What kind of jerk are you, man?
BMW championship.
About you and about me, I trace it back to that.
We talked about it.
But
and so I had a point of connection with my son. Sports fandom. You realize that Chargers of the Rams is still up for grabs, even though but I want to do it the right.
Ball can go a really long. Well, not as long as a tennis match, but we'll come back to. Go ahead.
Talking about I had that.
Hashtag Air Biscuits. Let us know what we should watch on YouTube. But
I'm not gonna. Not boring. I could only imagine if I never played golf.
That he cheated on his wife and whatever else he did that I may not be able to remember.
I'm conveniently setting.
We should get two.
And Locke has gotten into me. Shepard is currently there's not a whole lot of people who are, for me, if you're gonna choose
Tiger Woods, and would you how we interact with YouTube as users, we ask you, we had a lot of fun, but we bought too many tickets and then we didn't go to all the
I didn't. It was a. I don't think it was a. And then there's
a dark thing on the floor.
In the general population, I'm kind of like, no sports channel. There was no ESPN. And so the major sports championships were pure entertainment. To just be able to see
I think
LeBron in action.
That's all I'm giving it back. You can't do it because
I'm not going to be a Lakers fan. I don't.
You're
care.
a loser, man. Our conversation on Ear Biscuits. Now he's trying to be so friendly that he's sending
pride to become a Lakers fan. I like LeBron, but
Jacob, look up the
longest tennis match ever.
Next to me. And I just thought it would be funny to make a man. There's some other stuff up there. I couldn't tell what anything was.
If your body was this big, you would have a First of all, shout out to Red MC on Twitter. Go to murraystate.edu.
He does what now? I was thinking of my jokes.
They like Golf Channel will do that sometimes.
Waste of emotional energy that like
any football game.
It's
about this psychological connection. Incredible amount of research devoted to this. No funding. Nobody's so I don't know who's root for them. I'm not. I will go, and it will be. Was that your callback?
It was a Wyatt Earp.
Was this a Wyatt Earp callback?
Yeah.
And then he looks at the receipt, and he's like, "No." You'll have to.
We should sell blinks. I'm gonna go watch LeBron, just like some fair weather dude. But when I got
on Earth.
Well, you didn't just skip to the part where you smoked weed?
No, because I'm listening to it. It's almost one. And
about the sports sentence.
I was I'm still intermittent changes in the landscape. Let's just talk briefly about LeBron coming to the Lakers.
Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. This tied into
the carpet condom?
Winter condom. Every single thing
will look and feel like the NBA champion,
because it was pretty fascinating. But the tour championship, it's about this repeatedly happening. We're in a rebuilding phase. Meanwhile, Siemens is probably not a great mask. I think he's a great person. I think he's probably the best game that lasted like 50 is about.
Given the way that we're gonna do parts of the show,
was at work in the coffee shop.
We can. Just because
so utilitarian.
You got Jesse to force us to keep the first one. Now you've screwed up twice.
Yeah, I'm.
You see what happened?
YouTube videos to ever play the game, and was winning all the time. And it was one of those. It was a comment like, for the one of you out
intentionally. And if I didn't listen back through these songs, and so it's a very watching sports a waste of time. I think
live stream.
He would drive the ball off the tee.
That's a good swing.
And then part of like watching it is some magical connection that
if they won, it would think. Like you ask him a question and he waits 7 seconds to watching sports a waste of time.
Acknowledge that in the last podcast.
Okay.
Well, the conclusion that I tried to
it's
get
not
people
even
to
winter
draw
time.
Shut up. Was so it's.
But there's also
your thematic scale.
I feel like I'm just average dude 10 years ago. We're getting some feedback on this. The age it says. In particular, I am interested. So I'm kind of getting back into it, but about Pluto, biologist says that essentially this is
you're amputating them at the
that's a little
ankle
extreme.
Or something.
But so
well,
definitely that's what entered. Yeah, and yeah, it's cool to do that with somebody, but I could do that on my own.
But like
you don't have to do a little rant that was not as awesome as I thought it was. He does not just all sports, and I stay off of the internet, and then I fast forward and I wait until I see the red sweater, sort of tradition that I'm not a part of. At the time, Vinny Del Negro, it's just a sock. It's like, yeah.
Own and pick it. In logical language. You can tell that they totally forgot how the song goes, and they're just like, because I know you're anticipating that I'm gonna be.
We should start a public movement. Yeah, I also recognize that in some ways we're just tapping into
sad that you're as into sports as
you're
you might say you are.
You're asking me a question and now you're telling me my answer. He had the exact same injury that I've had with the herniated discs. He had pulling for myself in some ways. Strictly talking about responsible for his
I'm just
his
giving
world
you
falling apart.
I know, I'm giving you an opportunity.
That is not why any sports fan watches, with the understanding that this is just for me to be entertained alone and then connect with.
You're gonna break for dinner.
There may be a weather delay.
When it gets dark, you're gonna sleep.
you're out for good, but we're gonna go to a game.
Oh yeah.
In that particular episode, and then began to explain the sports that I watch. I don't watch highlights and see a score change, but
never forget that.
That doesn't feel like a wait. Mostly in real time. Sometimes I'll like skip the first.
Remembering lyrics or the other stuff I talked.
Expert watcher. I don't even know what it is. Somebody.
Time. It's not only a waste of time. It's a.
This podcast, this episode of Ear Biscuits is for you. Exactly. So, but with NC State, and interestingly, so what I would have, and no one knew.
It actually gives them the opposite.
You got to check back in and see, how people are interacting with it. And at that point, with all the fun.
Comment on things that we're a part of on the internet.
We're gonna have a conversation about
I'm
sports.
sorry.
I understand.
Tell you what,
because I'm
all
DNA, essentially. That makes sense to me. I still believe that that's an aspect of it.
Depends on what happens after.
Because I've been there and I played the game. But I can also appreciate.
It kind of sucks, but
it doesn't meet the standard.
Need to, especially, but
which is an interesting. This is crazy.
You know what? I kind of envy that deeper connection. You
shouldn't need. We have been, and I am, continue to be a.
I was bending the truth a little bit. I successfully is. I think it.
So, you're going to be standing up, potentially moving around, gyrating, and we're like, we tweet in all its glory on Twitter. I can tell you, jerseys, just because they have a winning tradition, and so I sit there and watch Tiger or NC State by myself, which
he sat the freak out.
It was like one of the only reasons. It activates the same parts of the brain that it would.
So exhausted. But
an opinion, we will do the follow-up podcast. So this crazy annual, Professor Juan, what it is, and I don't know what picking it is, but that most people consider by far the most boring sport.
Catch up with you, Rhett. I just feel like
good. They get so into it. Like as much as but we will be watching, noting, and we will come back.
So I'll tell you what in the same way that someone made this
that we're talking about and this identification with it. Now I'm not saying I feel like there are two different audiences, and I'm so I don't
brother. There'd be a lot of new lyrics and ways that it was delivered. So to do with, I mean, you may be intimately acquainted with the time.
Okay.
I just
this is in an article that was linked.
Say things like that, like we need some mo.
Yeah, and then you spell it.
And then what?
People like sports because they get self-esteem benefits from it. Also about sports, but in normal groups of people, it looks like a winter condom.
Like a
doesn't care about the classification. Don't you wish that you could
the tip off?
Not this. It's not as satisfying to listen.
On Twitter,
and it's for me.
Like if it was the best NBA players, like if it was
but they didn't really. They weren't around when I
tried that. It didn't work.
But then the Chargers came, and Phillip Rivers is the quarterback.
That you should slough this thing off and well, as long as I do it with my son, well, I'm how
you start that sentence is watching sport for reasons. Let me if the Clippers leave Los Angeles,
we started going to Clippers NBA basketball together or something.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. You'll understand.
I don't. Who was on that episode? He was a very good basketball. This is old news.
Pictures of what we're wearing. Two different. Man, I'm in that conversation, but I'm gonna keep doing it because it's
really.
There's some people.
I don't count him after
There's
that.
some people out there who appreciated that joke more than anything that's ever been said.
And I had just hadn't full in the study, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Your
dad, people pulling up beside me, waiting to get him that I didn't have, and I'm glad to say that he plays basketball.
It's psychosis, man. I'm not saying it's healthy, and I haven't even gotten to talk about NC.
Wow.
Okay, if you're still listening, thank you for doing it. Aesthetically pleasing, because because LeBron, because I want to see him win wherever he goes for an event, so that we don't end up wearing the same. And done all this stuff for his community, and has been very outspoken about a lot of things.
His game, we should paint our chest. BRON.
Team didn't set any ref
on behalf of sport. Probably mentioned that you went to North Carolina State. I'm actually thinking about that thin slice of fan that is.
It's me giving the double thumbs up.
It's like
there's a few caveats.
It's gonna blossom again.
It'll be awesome.
It's
like a corpse flower.
It's gonna be like
news producer right now. We don't have to have
today.
Today, okay.
Again, I won't do another one
I'm not gonna
today.
send you any more pictures of myself. And you know what?
What got you thinking about this?
Like dominance in this particular arena. That reality. We are doing the Tour of Mythicality in November, but this is it had like the surface of my bathroom.
If more scientists like sports, then all sports teams would be hues of red.
Out there who understands where the game's gonna be being brought.
As barista when he works from the coffee shop.
What do you do for a living? Well, let's see how I can explain this. The question is, if it call, I don't. Now I've never played football, but I've played lots of.
I don't know why. I don't know how he thought. What? I need a diagram to follow this now. Okay.
I see that people are
Gettysburg and you don't make an active decision to tie your
It's an interesting aspect of this because classified, and so
to follow up with last week's about how he's a ball hog and he's not. I don't love that. And if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it in.
I saw the top end of the spectrum with just a couple of other people who care at what scientists say about the psychology of. But so I'll tell you my experience.
Well, that's it. Okay. Well, then I gotta say it's not a game.
And I
was just giving you a hard time, and people couldn't read between the lines.
But what I meant earlier when I said my answer to that question does not dictate my.
And I think it probably needs to be the one that
understood. Let's play. I'm not.
No.
Enough people know. I'm not. I don't do that. I don't flip, man. I'm not a flipper. If you have experience with a specific sport, again, golf is something that is for me. Rest those of you who for some reason I'm consistent. Yeah, and four of us. Some of those things are not in play when you're watching a movie.
And
but
the last point is,
yes, he takes it harder than I do.
The moment I tweeted independently about Pluto, I was like, man, it's crazy.
It's definitely not about the fact that we're winning.
I'm just saying, that's literally what.
I forgot what the question was.
Today we're exploring the question.
Different. It's a different experience.
I feel like
I hope who have never. Eric said. Sports team
that says that when you watch sports,
face in it because I send him pictures all the time and it's just.
I mean, you texted me. Yeah, you
way. Yeah, I do feel that way.
Jealous. So I
do stuff in a completely disconnected. Nope.
I'm sorry, man. And you know,
Ron coming to the Lakers because I know we have opinions about that. Trifecta is we're watching it, they win, and
I want you to. Tell me what got you into this.
Well,
directly and indirectly by playing them with.
Unfold that little part that says place. Is it worth it? We're the winning tribe. You are propagating your own.
A lot of money off of it.
With golf spectating, because this is tribal warfare. But he's like the smartest man. Be a journalism review by a guy named Eric Simons.
Can I tell you the reasons why I don't? Because I remember, and
why is it such a big vat?
Not only make me empathize, but it's just like they're like, guys, I just want to tell you before we start, this is gonna last 4 days.
Tiger's playing, and he's associating with them. Now, let me just talk a little bit about what the science says, because
and lose much more than win. It's just not.
But okay, yeah, but nights or something like that. At some point, their fans hate.
To be fixed.
Okay.
Because, hey, but you did it during the podcast, and I thought it would be funny to share.
Some deeper
injury thing, and like that just, it doesn't make sense. How could you, just
couple of things.
So you're not even, you're not defending that.
All I've seen is I've seen him play the sports superstition because I'm watching a recording.
You texted that GIF of yourself to me. We were making fun of a sports writer, and I am concerned with my.
I admit I am everything that is wrong with. I'll tell you what he represents to me. Say the first word, and the first word's usually, and that's why.
Not only that it's about you, but there's this deep, ineffable connect. It's like I don't get it. You know, it's very much it's a biological.
This past weekend.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. So
body. To align with a sport color motif.
Never. Well, college, following a team, but what I have really connected with is NC State sports. Isn't that great? Entirety, and make sure you don't miss an episode. Follow the links in the description. Oh, as Link said.
I.e. in college and going to some games and then getting.
What is your handle?
Link Lamont.
Okay.
It's just.
You got to get better. You don't.
What is it made of?
I don't know.
It doesn't go together to me, man. And I think you will change your own.
At this point, I'm just being truthful. And then he was like,
I just didn't, if it wasn't for, do you really think, Tiger?
There was a period of time in which I was. Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine sports, or is anywhere in between?
Oh, that's everybody. His bone with that. and then today, which says exactly the same thing, an evolutionary.
I'm linked.
I joke about the Chris Webber and he has.
I'd like to study why he studies. They can be lumped together and it doesn't change how I feel.
We can lump them together, but that was smart. That was good branding.
Oh, thank you. I value,
but just like when
it burned you a little bit, and that's informing this conversation.
Yeah. When I talked about guys,
Moocher, you're not.
I am choosing to work at.
They would think that I was more than they win, and I experienced so much disappointment when I foil here. I think it's sad.
You don't have to like sports to appreciate the conversation. We're usually enjoying it like a junkie, and just Tiger Vision.
Basketball right now is just.
At least when you go to watch a sporting event, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Greg and Tim painted ourselves HERB.
For you to be so, I want you to quantify how into sports.
In between songs to a guy named Daniel. I made a joke about the Fab Five, the Michigan. It is a venue for emotional expression because they need an escape from real world troubles, to which a fan feels a psychological connection to a team. And you are putting yourself in the shoes of.
Remember him?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's playing for somebody else now. He wasn't allegiance. Or talk to us about what we just talked about. Breath control, my physical health, my cardio. So I'm giving it all.
Athletes
and I am singing Fab Four reference, huh? Were there 5 of them?
It's actually Fab Five. People react to golf, to a little ball, get really into it. We get up, we yell.
Some songs. I gave you a copy of it. So we could practice in our car.
But unlike
my
Tiger,
mom's husband, Lewis, last time he came out here, I picked him up from the airport.
With me at a time in my life where I just really wanted to see him succeed.
Which was like, I don't know. I think games because it was your idea. And I was like, you know what, I want to get in on the time, right? Why can't you just watch that stream?
And I was like,
start watching on his tank top.
In the forest. It was from November 30th, 2013. We've been deceitful guy who.
Though.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Sure.
How do you feel about?
One day what?
7.
People who comment unsolicited got back issues specifically.
I'm done for.
I have a bone to pick with. I made free throw, while the non-sporty students did not. And this is also.
Hey, This
said something about the winning mindset or something.
He talked about for sports.
And I think that they had to keep coming back.
For 20 minutes
approximately. Well, I feel like I need to address this right up top. I think I need to address. Your loss. Okay, we're gonna continue this conversation, but first we do want to let you know. Superstitious, huh? Kinda into sport. Tiger Woods. Usually somebody who's said, is Georgia football.
Completely?
I was like, I did some Twitter. I feel a little bit better about myself. Going about my day. Incredibly difficult to master. Not just to master. I do feel that.
What it sounded like to me is,
from the red carpet at some event. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. But sweater condom. But it's just all it is
panties.
No.
I'm trying to remember my point. I can't remember my point.
I want
tangentially related to us and more related to the internet.
And that I think you're.
So that's the bone you have to pick with me?
No. I'm getting
people who are making money.
Associating yourself.
This is what you wanted.
And then I said, which is a totally different thing we can get into.
Well, I definitely believe in that.
Because.
Hey there, if you ever get bored of watching people sat in silence, maybe you should come and check out the We Know Nothing podcast, where we talk too much. If you want to listen to two drunk best friends talking about current events, opinions, and embarrassing stories, be sure to check us out.